My name is Mike Parker, and on Tuesday afternoon my phone lit up with a charge for $1,850. The note on it said, Couple Spa Package, Oceanfront Experience. No call. No warning. No hey, is this okay? Just money gone. I was at the kitchen table with my old laptop open, trying to update a mileage and expenses spreadsheet I had not touched since March. I just stared at the screen. Couple Spa Package. That means 2 people. Not a solo massage. Not a girls' weekend. Not a networking retreat, which is what my wife, Jessica, called it when she left 3 nights ago in that blue silk blouse she never wears around me anymore. Right on cue, like the whole thing was scripted, her text came in 5 minutes later. Miami is amazing. Wish you were here. Did she wish I was there? I was there. At least my money was. Every single charge on the joint account since her plane touched down in Florida had my name tied to it. The flight, the penthouse, the stupidly priced ceviche, and now a spa day for 2, billed to the man sitting at home eating leftover chili and sorting tax documents. I typed one line back. I am glad you are enjoying the hotel. My lawyer has the receipt. Then I sent it. No extra message. No yelling. No long speech. Just one clear sentence. Enough to turn her sunny Miami afternoon into a very quiet one. I shut the laptop. The house was still. I could hear the low hum of the radiator and the soft clunk of the dishwasher changing cycles. I walked over to the filing cabinet, pulled open the 3rd drawer, and took out a manila folder I had not touched in more than a year. My handwriting was on the tab in big block letters. Clause 14. Corporate Conduct. 3 years ago, Jessica's company rolled out a new ethics and travel manual. She asked me to look it over. Back then I did contract work. I was the boring guy businesses hired to find loopholes before the wrong person did. She hated how slow I was. You take the fun out of everything, she said back then. That is what compliance is, I told her. There was one part one added that she really laughed at. I wrote in a rule about romantic relationships during company-paid travel. I made it strict. If 2 employees fooled around on a trip the company paid for, and any part of it got billed back to the company or the company's partners, it triggered an automatic ethics investigation. It could get them fired. You are such a buzzkill, she said, sipping red wine at our kitchen island. Maybe, I said. But this buzzkill just saved your company from a lawsuit later. She rolled her eyes. She gave me a playful wink like none of it mattered. It matters now. Because now Jessica is the one holding the grenade she thought I would never pull the pin on. Before I tell you the rest, let me say this one thing. A lot of you who listen to stories like this are not subscribed. Go ahead and press the subscribe button. It helps the people who make these stories with artificial intelligence voices. It also makes sure you get the next part, and the next part is the heavy one. You do not want to miss it. I sat back down and opened the folder. I read through my own notes like I was reading the last scene of a play I wrote and forgot about. There it was. Clause 14. Clear. Firm. No wiggle room. If 2 employees entered into a romantic relationship during company-funded travel, and any shared expense on that trip was billed to the company or to any company affiliate, it would automatically start an ethics review. It was immediate grounds for dismissal while the board looked at it. That clause was the fuse. All I needed was the match. The match was not even the spa charge. The match was the photo that her work buddy posted yesterday. His name is Ryan Carter. He has always hovered around her a little too close. He did not put the picture on his main page. He is not that dumb. He dropped it in a private Instagram story that some clients could still see. One of them knew me and sent it with no caption. It was Jessica's bare feet in Ryan's lap. Ryan was holding a glass of champagne. You could see the sunset over the water behind them. It was the same oceanfront resort she had just charged to our account. Her feet, his hand, my credit card. So I called a man I had not spoken to in years. His name is Daniel Morgan. Back in the day, he was one of the sharpest compliance lawyers in the state. Now he is the chief compliance officer at the firm where Jessica and her office boyfriend do business. When he answered, he did not even say hello. He said, "How bad is it?" I said, "That depends. Do you still use the ethics handbook your firm sent out 3 years ago?" He was quiet for a few seconds. Then he said, "Clause 14. Exactly." There was another long pause. Then he let out a breath and said, "Send me everything." So I did. I sent him the bank receipt. I sent the screenshot of the resort charge. I sent the Instagram story with Jessica's feet in Ryan's lap. I sent the page from the ethics manual she laughed about while we drank Pinot Noir. I sent the whole folder. When I finished, Daniel said 5 words. I will take it from here. Jessica thought she booked a fun work trip. What she actually booked was a hearing. At exactly 1:43 in the afternoon, she posted a boomerang from the pool bar. Strawberry daiquiri in her hand. Big sunglasses. Her legs crossed like she was on a yacht in St. Tropez. The caption said, "My kind of board meeting, smiling face with sunglasses son." Cute. At that same time, I was in a glass office 20 floors up, sitting across from Daniel Morgan, the same guy I used to grind through government spreadsheets with 10 years ago. Back then we were 2 tired federal compliance analysts buried in red tape. Now he wore a dark blue suit that probably cost more than my first car. His nameplate said, Chief Compliance Officer. I slid the manila folder across the shiny table. No small talk. No smile. Just the folder tapping his espresso saucer. He opened it. He read the first page. Then the second. When he got to the photo from that client dinner, the one where Jessica's hand was in Ryan Carter's lap under the tablecloth, I saw his jaw tighten. You learn to look for things like that in meetings like this. The body always tells on people before their mouths do. Little flickers, little freezes. Daniel lifted his eyes from the page and said, "You are not filing this with human resources." I shook my head. "No, you are." There was a long stretch of quiet where the air conditioner was the only thing talking. Then he said, "Does Jessica know you brought this to me?" "No," I said. "She still thinks I am at home doing taxes." Another pause. "I am guessing you want this handled quietly." "Not exactly." I leaned back in the chair and crossed my ankle over my knee. "I want this handled correctly. If keeping it quiet gets us there, that is fine. If it does not," I tilted my head. "I am fine with a little noise." Daniel rubbed his temple, then picked up the pen that was sitting next to his monitor. He did not ask me why. Men like him, men like me, we do not need the reason spelled out. The reason was written in a $4,850 charge, a time-stamped Instagram photo, and a policy she helped write and then pretended did not exist. He started writing notes. The spa package by itself would trigger an internal finance audit, he said. Add in the relationship, the photos, the hotel charge, and the fact that she is on a work trip with someone who reports to her. He shook his head. Good Lord. I stayed quiet. He turned to the page where I had attached a printout of her edits from years ago. Her handwriting was on it in red. Underlined. Feels a little harsh. Should we soften this? Under that was my old reply in the margin. Harsh is the point. Clarity protects everyone. I did not smile, but something moved inside me. It was not joy. Not yet. It was colder than that. It was the feeling of a scale evening out. The feeling you get when numbers finally match. Daniel glanced up. Do you want to go after the man too? Because he is not exactly innocent here. He billed time that was not really business. He used a company card for that suite. I checked the statement. Ryan Carter can answer for his part, I said. She is not the only one spending company money like it is vacation cash. Daniel looked at me for a long time. Then he said, they are going to regret that they ever put you in the system as just her husband. He was right. They had no idea who I was. To them, I was the guy who made coffee, the guy who reminded her to pack pain medicine, the guy who fixed her PowerPoint slides while she networked over cocktails. I was the quiet one, the steady one, the one she said was not very ambitious but a very good partner. Let them keep thinking that. Jessica was still posting from the cabana when Daniel sent the internal audit request to their chief operating officer, and he blind copied the legal department. The subject line said, Urgent review, ethics policy violation, corporate retreat. The machine started moving. Quiet, yes, but fast. A lot faster than she would ever expect while she was drinking by the pool. Sometime between her poolside mimosa and her next bikini boomerang, Ryan Carter's company opened an investigation into misuse of company funds, possible breach of policy, and violations of the very clause she helped write. While she laughed under palm trees with another man's hand on her thigh, I was in my car in the parking garage, engine running, sunglasses on. I did not have to raise my voice. I did not have to beg. Paper was going to do the work. I remembered the night she first brought me that draft like it was some kind of gift. She walked into the kitchen with that half-guilty smile she used when she wanted something from me. She had a glass of wine in one hand. Her bare feet were tucked under her on the chair like a teenager asking for the car keys. Babe, she said, can you read this for me? They need a final pass before the offsite next week, and I am drowning. You are so good at this stuff. It was a draft of their new code of conduct. It was messy. Too much legal language, rules that did not match, paragraphs that fought each other. I did not tell her it was sloppy. I just read it. I cleaned up the language. I tightened the parts that were loose. And somewhere around page 12, I added a clause. I was not angry when I wrote it. Not then. It was practical. It was what any grown-up company would put in there. They were about to go on a company trip where people would drink, where ranks would blur, where one bad choice could wreck a career, and where somebody would think it was fine to put a round of drinks or a massage on the company card. So I wrote, romantic involvement between employees during company-sponsored travel will result in immediate review for termination, especially where abuse of company expenses is present. I showed it to her. She read it out loud and laughed. My God, you are such a lawyer. Can we not have any fun? You can have fun, I said. You just cannot have fun on your company's money. And you definitely cannot have fun on mine. She rolled her eyes. No one is sleeping with anyone. This is not Mad Men. I did not argue. I highlighted the clause in yellow, saved the document, and handed it back. She pressed send. That was 3 years ago. Now that exact clause, the one we worked on at our kitchen table, was sitting at the center of a company investigation with her name on it. The irony would have tasted sweet if it was not so sad. I did not have to twist anything. All I had to do was remind the company that she was the one who sharpened the knife. When Daniel forwarded the polished compliance packet to the general counsel, he attached the version she had sent in. Her edits were still in the track changes. Her initials. Her comments. Even her little joke in the margin. Let us hope this never happens, faced with tears of joy. Daniel called me after he sent it. They are rattled, he said. Legal does not like how clean this is. The clause, the receipts, the timeline. There is no way to wiggle out. That is why I wrote it that way, I said. She is not just going to lose her team, he said. She might be finished. I did not answer. I was holding the printout of her flight itinerary in my hand. She booked the whole thing through their company's partner travel portal. She marked it as client outreach. Same client, she told me, had canceled at the last minute. Same client who, according to their customer relationship management system, had not done a single deal with them in over a year. That was strike 1, abuse of expenses. Strike 2 was the romance part. The spa receipt covered that. Strike 3 was timing. She was traveling during company-sponsored time. Miami was the city for their firm's annual retreat this quarter, and it was paid for out of the travel budget. All 3 pieces lined up like dominoes. And the clause she once laughed about in our kitchen like it was a joke was now the hammer landing on her head. I was sitting at the same kitchen table where she first slid that draft to me. Her chair across from me was empty. Half the time it was empty now. She was always on a plane, always in back-to-back strategy sessions. Her out-of-office emails were starting to sound more like, "Do not bother me," than real work messages. I opened my laptop. On my desktop, I still had the old document. The title said, Conduct_policy_edited. Inside it was the clause. Plain. Simple. No wiggle room. She used to say I over-prepared for everything. That I lived like every day was a deposition. That I was always writing things down just in case. What she never got was that men like me do not prepare for the worst because we are scared. We prepare because we can see it coming. I looked at her initials next to the line. J.T. Jessica Thompson. Her own mark on the rule that was now tightening around her like a rope. And the sad part was, she did not even know. I just pulled the lever. She was the one who built the machine. The audit did not start loud. It started boring. That is how real trouble starts. Compliance ran the receipts through their expense monitoring software. She probably never even thought about that tool. It is routine. It is automated. It is dull. But dull things have teeth when you get sloppy. The tool flagged room 415. Oceanfront Deluxe. 3 nights. Charged to the company's MasterCard under his name. Ryan Carter, Director of Client Development. Labeled as Client Entertainment. 4th quarter engagement. Then it flagged the couple spa package. Added by Jessica Thompson, Business Strategy Lead. Labeled as Wellness Amenity, Client Recovery Session. Client Recovery Session. What kind of client needs a volcanic mud wrap and a massage for 2? From there it picked up speed. The hotel confirmed that the room was used by 2 adults, 1 male and 1 female, and both names matched the reservation. The emails on the booking matched the company domain. The time-stamped photos did not help them either. Not just the ones Jessica posted, but the ones she did not know were public. The hotel's social media manager had posted a group picture from the rooftop bar and tagged everyone. Name badges showing. Champagne glasses up. Jessica's hand on Ryan's shoulder like she had already claimed him. The hotel app showed 2 separate users signed up for the Ocean Bliss spa experience. No client was listed, just their 2 names. Then some young kid in corporate security cross-checked the building badge records. Neither Jessica Thompson nor Ryan Carter had used their company access cards for 4 straight days. Meanwhile, their time-tracking software showed both of them logging billable hours from Miami. First domino down. She was still tanning. Back at headquarters, the assistant to the chief operating officer sent Daniel a message. Subject, need to meet quietly. No details, just that. In the compliance room, the folder I had handed Daniel was now open on 6 different screens. Red flags across the dashboard. Internal emails from 2 and 3 years ago were suddenly getting pulled into threads that showed a pattern. Little favors. Overstated dinners. Sloppy reporting. With the new information, every small thing glowed brighter. She was not just involved in this ethics problem. She had helped design the rule that she was now breaking. By lunchtime, the board's risk oversight chair had been added. The general counsel had already drafted wording in case external auditors asked why there was an ethics review during an active merger. Because this was not just about my marriage. Their company was in the middle of a delicate acquisition. One wrong move from an executive, and the partner they were trying to buy could walk away. No soft landing. No, thank you for your service. Just a cliff. Somebody in the office dropped a screenshot of her board meeting Instagram story into the internal chat. No words. Just the picture. Her legs out, drink in hand, sunglasses on. Caption, living my best life, face blowing a kiss. That was all it took. Whispers in the kitchen. Whispers by the elevators. People glancing toward the glass conference room where she used to run the quarterly briefings in that navy blazer she said made her look like she owned the place. Except now the place was turning on her. Legal messaged the chief technology officer for device history. Who logged in? From where? What files were touched? When? Her work laptop showed a location tag in Miami Beach. At the same time, she submitted a client compliance form that said she was on site with a client. At the same time, Ryan Carter's expense report listed the trip as new account prospecting, 4th quarter. They both knew the rules. They both knew how it would look. But they thought the audit trail did not apply to them. They thought that if they picked the right filter, if they wrote a vague description, if their performance reviews were high enough, people would stop asking questions. People never stop asking. They just start asking quietly. That afternoon, the chief operating officer called Jessica and left a voicemail. The message from the chief operating officer went out calm and steady, like nothing was wrong. We will need to go over your Miami deliverables. I will send a Microsoft Outlook invitation. Please be prepared to review the expenses line by line. Just you. She did not answer for 5 hours. When she finally wrote back, she tried to sound relaxed. Sounds good. We will bring Ryan in. The reply came back in seconds. No need. Just you. That was the first crack. She might have told herself it was routine. She might have told herself it was just finance doing finance. But that phrase, just you, sat different. She read it again. And again. Then she set the phone down real slow. That was the moment the confidence started to slide. Back at headquarters, Daniel Morgan was closing out the last page of her travel history. He muttered, almost to himself, "She does not know it yet, but she is finished." The office of the chief executive officer was a glass box above the city. You could not hear the noise from outside, but you could feel the weight. By the time the compliance packet got to his desk, the mood in the building had shifted. Not panic. Not yet. Just that tight, careful quiet you get right before you push the button on a controlled demolition. He flipped through everything with that slow, practiced way people in the corner office learn. Spa charges, hotel invoices, screenshots from social media, a clause from the ethics manual, highlighted and signed. Names matched all the way through. Ryan Carter, Jessica Thompson, the pair that should not have been a pair. He set the folder down, laced his fingers, and without looking up said, "Who is this man?" Daniel, sitting at the far end of the table, knew exactly who he meant. The man who had sent the memo. The man who had flagged the breach. "That is Mike Parker," Daniel said. Human resources? The chief executive officer asked. No. Outside attorney? No. Not anymore. He is not on any current contract. The chief executive officer looked up. Then why is he writing like he knows our policy better than my own people? Daniel pulled out a second sheet. Because he used to be a federal contract negotiator. Defense work. Oversight. Audits. The kind of man who does not lose. He advised 3 of our partner companies on high-risk mergers and acquisitions. Off the record. And he wrote a good number of the compliance clauses we are using right now. He is a scalpel. The room went still. And the chief executive officer said, quieter now. Daniel let out a breath. And he is her husband. Silence. Not shocked silence. Cold silence. The kind that comes right before the board starts cutting people. She is the lead strategist on the merger, the chief executive officer said. Yes. And he is the person who wrote the rule she broke. Yes. The chief executive officer stared at my name again, like he was hoping it would change to somebody less inconvenient. Then he picked up his desk phone, pressed one button, and said, get legal in here. And I want a direct number for Mike Parker. Call him right now. He hung up before the assistant even answered. Across the building, in a very different office, Jessica was still smiling on calls, deflecting, pretending nothing was wrong. She thought she could manage it, thought she could circle back, thought she could wrap it in corporate language and breeze through. She had no idea that upstairs there was a meeting forming with her name on the cover page. And the person driving it was not angry. He was not pleading. He was the same man she used to tease for having color-coded folders. She never understood that being unseen is not weakness. It is strategy. While she was laughing with a drink in her hand, her boyfriend's company was learning that the man she cheated on was not just some sad husband. He was the one who had written the playbook. He was the ghost in their system. And now he was alert. The call reached me 5 minutes later. I was sitting in my car outside a notary office, documents in a folder on the passenger seat, when my phone lit up with a number from New York. No voicemail. Just a second ring. I answered. Mr. Parker? A man said, voice sharp and even. Yes. This is David Lawson, Chief Executive Officer of Orion Holdings. I believe we should talk. I did not say anything. He went on. I have reviewed the materials and your notes. You have been very thorough. I usually am. He hesitated. May I ask what your final goal is here? I looked out the windshield. A bird was on the power line, just watching. My goal. I said. I do not play games, Mr. Lawson. I write rules. Your company ignored one. On purpose. There was a pause. Then he spoke more carefully. I would like to meet face to face. I am open to that, I said, as long as she is not in the room. He let out a slow breath, like he had been holding it since the first email. Understood. When I hung up, I did not feel happy. I felt exact, like I had just tightened the last bolt on an engine. She thought I was just her husband. Turned out I was the reason she still had a badge. Down in Miami, she woke up with the sunlight coming through the thin curtains and the smell of the ocean drifting in. Everything looked easy. The ceiling fan was turning. Music was still playing low from somebody's playlist. She stretched, smiling, reached for her phone. 12 missed calls, all from inside the company. Her heart skipped. She blinked herself awake, sat up in that hotel bed, and started scrolling. Calls from the chief operating officer. Calls from the general counsel. Calls from human resources. Even a missed call from her own assistant, who never phones after 6 in the evening, let alone on a weekend. Her hands moved faster than her head. She unlocked her phone, opened Microsoft Outlook, then Slack, then Microsoft Teams. Messages everywhere. Urgent fourth quarter travel review. Need to sync before Monday. Call me now. She opened the last one. There has been a review opened. We need clarification on your Miami travel immediately. That was the moment the cold hit her. She got up too fast. The sheet wrapped around her ankle and almost dropped her. She looked around. Ryan was gone. His suitcase was by the door, zipped. On the nightstand there was only one thing left. The spa receipt. Her name on it. Not his. The phone buzzed again. Unknown number. She hesitated, then picked up. Jessica speaking. This is David Lawson. She froze. The man at the very top. Oh, I am sorry. I was not expecting. I am calling because your name came up in a legal and compliance review, he said, cutting straight through the small talk. She tried to steer it. Is this about the spa thing? It was just. You need to speak to your husband, he said. She sat back down on the edge of the bed. What does he have to do with this? He sent us the receipts, Jessica. Nothing came out of her mouth. He also sent us the policy document from 3 years ago, the one you helped write. Her stomach dropped. Her vision tucked in at the sides. That clause was not meant for this, she said. I mean, technically the client canceled and he sent us a time-stamped photo, your expense records, and a digital edit history with your initials showing you approve the exact clause you broke. This was not Ryan and I. Do not lie to me. Silence. She could hear the pool 5 floors down. Kids laughing. Music playing reggaeton. Miami doing what Miami does. I do not understand, she whispered. This is not personal anymore. Lawson said, steady and corporate. We are about to lose a merger over this. The other side's lawyers are looking at every single policy problem. Yours is at the top. A little sob pushed up in her throat, but she swallowed it. I did not mean to. He did not answer that. Then, quieter, like something had just clicked for him, he said, he knew exactly what clause to use, did he not? She nodded before she remembered he could not see her. He was never just your husband, was he? She did not answer. The call ended. Later I saw the phone logs. I saw the timestamps. I saw how fast the message spread once legal made it official. I can picture her sitting there in that pretty room in Miami, holding a dead phone to her ear, listening to a tone that would not stop, realizing this was not a fight between two married people. This was a procedure. She opened Instagram and scrolled through her own posts. The pool videos. The rooftop drink. My kind of board meeting. All still public. All tagged. All time-stamped. She opened our text thread and looked at the last thing I had sent her. I am glad you are enjoying the hotel. My lawyer has the receipt. She stared at it. Her thumb sat above the keyboard. Nothing came. Because she finally saw it. This was not me being jealous. This was not me overreacting. This was me pulling the exact wire she had wired herself. I did not go for her feelings. I went for her role, her reputation, her leverage. I knew her company better than she did. I knew what the board cared about. I knew what domino to touch. And now she was the domino. When she flew back, she did not look like the woman from the rooftop video. No makeup, hair in a knot that said, I have not slept. Not, I am stylish. The blazer she wore for big meetings was wrinkled and hanging over her arm. She walked through the airport like she was walking through rain. No Instagram story. No back at it. No smile. Just straight home. When the car pulled into the driveway, she noticed the first thing right away. The porch light was off. I always left that on for her when she traveled. Always. She came inside and found me in the living room. I was folding shirts and putting them in a moving box. Not throwing things. Not slamming drawers. Just working. Slow. Exact. Like a man doing something he had planned a long time ago. She stood in the doorway with one heel still half on. What are you doing? Packing. Packing for what? I kept folding. My voice stayed level. There is a folder on the kitchen table. It has everything. She walked over like it might blow up. On the table was a manila folder, a little worn from being opened and closed. Inside was a signed divorce petition, a financial separation outline, asset division, a timeline of her policy violations sent to her own company's legal department, photocopies, screenshots, receipts, a letter from a corporate ethics lawyer naming Clause 14. She flipped through it. Every page landed like a punch. No, this is not, this cannot. Mike, please. I did not turn around. You said no one was sleeping with anyone, I said. You said it was not like that. You said the client canceled. You said it was a work trip. That clause was not about us, she said, voice cracking. It is now. She took a shaky breath. We can fix it. I can talk to David. I can explain. You do not have to explain, I said. You already signed it. 3 years ago. In our kitchen. Glass of wine in your hand. You thought I was boring. You thought I was overdoing it. You thought I would never use it. She covered her mouth. I put another shirt in the box. You thought I was just your husband, I said. Turns out I was your compliance officer. I slid another pair of socks into the box. You are not serious, she said, crying now, the way people cry when they finally realize the crowd is gone. You cannot just throw everything away like this. I made a mistake, but this is nuclear. I put the tape on the box, smoothed it, and finally looked at her. The house, I said, quiet, is in my trust. It always has been. You have 1 week. She blinked fast. You put the house in a trust when? Before your firm's initial public offering? Just in case? You are doing this to embarrass me. No, I said. I am doing this to protect what is mine. My voice did not go up. There was no yelling. It was just done, like a man turning in his badge and walking out of a building that is already on fire because his stuff is not inside anymore. She sat down on the bar stool by the kitchen island and stared at the folder. How long have you been planning this? I tilted my head, thinking about it. Long enough to do it right. That hurt her more than if I had shouted. I turned back around, picked up the next box, and opened the hall closet. She stood up fast, eyes wide. What am I supposed to tell my board? My team? My family? I think they already know, I said, still not turning. Mike, you cannot just erase me. Now I stopped. I set the box down and walked past her. I did not erase you, Jessica, I said. You did that the minute you decided I was disposable. Then I walked upstairs with the box, like I was just putting things in storage. Behind me, the door to that future she built on charm and company credit slowly closed. The fallout did not blow up. It leaked. Quiet. Careful. The kind of damage that does not make flames, it just seeps into the walls until everything sags. By the time Jessica walked into the office on Monday morning, those glass walls that used to make her feel important now felt like she was in an interview room. She stepped off the elevator, heels a little too loud, trying to sound confident. People did not look at her. They looked around her. Her badge still opened the door, but it felt like it did it out of habit. At 4 minutes after 10, she got her first meeting cancellation. Strategy briefing canceled by organizer. Then another. Fourth quarter forecast call. You have been removed from this invitation. By noon, it was official. No more pretending. Compliance sent her a message. Pending internal review. You have been temporarily reassigned to special projects. Effective immediately. No, thank you. No, we value you. Just distance. In 12-point Calibri, Ryan, her office boyfriend, did not even make it that far. Human Resources called him in first thing. One look at the flagged hotel bill, the matching travel dates, the internal messages with emojis they thought would vanish, and he was suspended before lunch. Pending investigation. Hand over your badge. By 2 in the afternoon, the board called an emergency meeting. The big conference room stayed lit the whole day. Glass walls frosted. Executives pacing. Arms folded. Laptops open like little judgment machines. Somebody leaked the policy. Clause 14. Her clause. The one she laughed about in our kitchen over a glass of red wine while sitting on my lap saying, rules are made to be bent. Turns out bent rules snap. The merger, the huge deal they were building toward, was paused. In corporate language, that means it is dead. The other company walked away and said, leadership instability and inconsistent policy enforcement. Public relations tried to dress it up. Legal drafted a safe statement. But inside, everyone knew whose name was on every slide. Hers. Her team was split up. Her email account was frozen. Her group's access level was dropped. Nobody even told her straight. Her own assistant texted her from a personal phone. Got moved to Bishop's group. I am sorry. That one hurt. But the worst was the people who said nothing. Her mentor. The one who told the chief financial officer. Jessica is the future here. Silent. No call. No text. That was the punishment. Not the reassignment. Not the investigation. Not even the dead merger. It was the slow, clean removal of her from the story. Inside those walls, she went from rising star to radioactive. The only calls she got were from Human Resources. You are not being punished. We just need to maintain internal neutrality. As if sticking her in special projects was not punishment. As if watching her name disappear from presentations, from agendas, from the digital lobby screen was not the business version of erasing a person. Even the security guard who always said, killing it today, boss, kept his eyes on his screen when she walked by. Her LinkedIn page still said Director, Business Strategy. Inside the company, that job did not exist for her anymore. The call to me came a little after 11 at night. The house was dark. The last box was labeled. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. I knew the number. I let it ring twice. Then I answered. I picked up on the third ring. Not because I was unsure. Because I wanted to show I was still in control. Alex, the old man said. His voice sounded thinner, worn down. You sent that to the board? I did. You really sent an ethics file with my daughter's name all over it to her own board? I sat on the edge of the bed, elbows on my knees. Ex-wife, I said. He was quiet. The kind of quiet where a man is trying to decide if he is angry ashamed, impressed, or all three. She called me, he said at last, crying. Said her team is gone. Said her mentor will not return a call. Said the board froze her stock options this morning. She did not leave me another choice, I said. He laughed once. Not happy. Disbelieving. You think this is about you? No, I said. It never was. He sucked in a breath. Do you have any idea what you have done? What this will cost her career? What it has already cost mine? Our name is on that merger. Her name. My trust was leveraged against their future earnings. I told her, I said, still calm. My silence was not weakness. It was restraint. There was a long pause. You did not just take them down, he said finally, softer, almost like he was admitting something to himself. You burned their future. I stood up and looked out the window. The city was still glowing like nothing had happened. Even though a few floors up in a glass tower, somebody's whole climb had just been sealed off. She underestimated the wrong man, I said. She underestimated everything. He muttered. She thought the title and the building made her safe. She used that company like it was her own credit card. She broke rules she helped write, I said. She spent my money while she was breaking her own policy. I gave her every way out. She laughed. I vouched for her, he said. Told people she was the sharp one, that she had the instincts. She did, I said. She did not have the discipline. He was quiet again. Then he said, what are you going to do now? I looked at the hallway. Boxes stacked. Folder on the table. A house getting emptier by the hour. I am leaving town. Probably for good. Another pause. Then he said something I did not expect. She was wrong about you. I said nothing. She told me, he is a stepping stone, Dad. I will outgrow him. Tell her, I said, that the man she walked on just pulled the floor out from under her. He let out a slow breath. I should have seen it coming. You did, I said. You just did not want to believe it. The line went dead. No goodbye, just truth. I put the phone in the box marked documents. Not on the nightstand. This was part of the record now. By then, the wave had hit her last wall. The air in the lobby that Monday was too clean, too cold. Like after a funeral. Jessica came in through the revolving door, trying to look steady. Hair up, black slacks, dark blazer, neutral heels. Like armor. She knew people had heard. She knew about the reassignment. She knew about the audit. But this was her building. She built half the systems. They did not get to throw her out. Then she saw the screen above reception. The big one with the company seal under it. Merger terminated. She stopped. Her bag slid on her shoulder. The security guard, David, the one who always joked with her, stepped forward. Good morning, Miss Thompson. Hi, David. I will need a guest pass. My badge is not. He held up his hand. I was told not to let you upstairs. Her stomach dropped. What? There is something for you, he said, reaching behind the desk. He handed her an ivory envelope with her name on it. She opened it with shaking hands. Termination of employment, effective immediately, for cause. List of policy violations. Breach of conduct. Misuse of corporate resources. Failure to disclose a relationship with a subordinate. Clause 14, underlined. Her clause. She did not talk. She just looked up. That was when she saw Ryan sitting in the corner. Suit wrinkled. Tie loose. Duffel bag at his feet. Not fired yet, but waiting to be. He could not even look at her. She stepped back like she could still disappear. The elevator doors opened. I walked out. Gray suit. Briefcase. I did not slow down. I did not look at her. I nodded once at David. Thank you. And I walked out. No scene. No shouting. No revenge speech. Just a man leaving a building he had already emptied. She stood there with the letter shaking in her hand. In the lobby she used to rule, watching the man she called boring walk away colder than ice. And that was the end. No fireworks. No big trial. Just a quiet freeze. And me gone.